everybody, I'm Sam and I'm the Graduate Recruitment Manager at Shoosmiths. In this Facebook Live video I'm going to talk to you about summer vacation placements at Shoosmiths, including the process to apply, what happens when you're here, and then what comes next after the placement. So I'm joined by 3 placement candidates this week. We're in our Manchester office, so this is Matt, Seamus and Tom. And they're going to be talking to you about their experience of summer vacation placement at Shoosmiths. But before we come on to full introductions, I want to get to know you a little bit more. So I want to know where you are watching us from today. So if you just type it into the comments for me, and I'll tell you a bit about where we are. So we're in the Manchester office. We're based in Spinningfields in central Manchester. And we're in the XYZ building. It's a really amazing office here. We've been in this office for about a year to 18 months now, and it's great. I think if you watch our Instagram story, you'll be able to see some pictures of inside the office today, as well as obviously what we're filming here. So we're currently sat in the library room, if you couldn't tell, with the books behind us. These are actually cupboards, and the books are inside. And you can't really see the rest of the room, but it's a great, quiet working space. So as a lawyer, you might need to come in here to do some research. You might be going through a contract or drafting, perhaps where you want to be in a bit more of a quiet environment rather than our open plan office. So this is a great room for that. And of course, today, it's our place where we're filming. So, I also wanted to mention, if you think that one of your friends should be watching this today to get some tips about summer placements at Shoosmiths, then tag them in the comments too so they can come and watch us live. So I'm going to start you off by talking you through the summer vacation process that you guys have already been through. And it starts around December when our summer placement application opens on our website. You can apply up until the deadline of the 28th of February. So when the application opens in December, you will be applying for a summer placement for next year, for 2019 summer. We hold all of our placements in June, and if you are successful, then you will be asked which week is your preferred week in June. So these guys chose the final week of our placement. It's a paid 1-week placement scheme. And obviously you choose the office, you choose your preferred week, and then we also do invite you to let us know what department you might be interested in as well. We can't guarantee the department because it's based on where our trainees currently sit in the teams and also the amount of work that's available, but we do try and match that for you. So once you've joined us on your week, you get introduced to the HR team and your own team that you'll be sitting with. You will be doing real work, but also a couple of assignments set by the graduate recruitment team as well. So for us, we want it to be an enjoyable week, really worthwhile in terms of developing your experience, but also we are looking for you to impress us and to see whether you enjoy it and whether you want to be recommended through to our assessment centre. And if you are successful, you then jump forward to the assessment centre, which takes place in July. So you're only halfway through your week so far, guys, but hopefully at the end of the week you'll be finding out whether you've made it to our assessment centre. It is obviously that opportunity to impress, which everything to do with your career in law and getting in front of the firm, going to recruitment events, at everything you want to be impressing the people that you're coming across, whether that's the graduate recruitment team, the partners, the trainees. So this is another opportunity to do that, but also obviously for you to see if we're the right firm for you. Okay, so that's my brief overview of the process. I want to know something else about you before we continue. I'd like to know what degree you've studied, if you did study a degree. So did you do a law degree or a non-law degree? So just pop it in the comments for me what degree you've studied or are currently studying. We accept all degree disciplines. We really enjoy the fact that people are attracted to our firm from different backgrounds. It means that you bring a lot of different experience to us. So yes, that's why I'm really interested to hear what you're studying or what you've studied. And before I hand over to the guys, I also want to know whether you've completed work experience, and if you did, which department did you do it in within the law firm? So again, just comment that below and just let us know what type of work experience in a law firm you've had before. And if you've got any tips as well, happy for you to share those on the comments. Okay, so I'm going to swap over to these guys who are going to introduce themselves. And so, Matt, if you want to start us off and just tell us a little bit about you.
Hi everybody, my name's Matt. I graduated from the University of Nottingham in law in 2012. Since university I spent some time in property development, but for the past 3.5 years I've been paralegaling in real estate, construction and a bit of commercial and IP law as well. I work in Manchester, I'm doing a vacation scheme in Manchester, but I live in Liverpool and commute on a daily basis.
Thanks.
Hi, my name's Shoosmiths. I graduated from the University of Manchester in 2016. I studied philosophy and politics, and at the moment I'm working for an in-house legal team, more specifically their legal costs team, and I actually live and work in Manchester as well, and so far it's going really well.
Hi everybody, my name is Ian Willoughby. I'm from Birmingham but studied law at University of Manchester. I graduated last summer in 2017. Since then I did a paralegal placement with a Magic Circle firm in Manchester, then proceeded to do a ski season in Japan, and I'm currently working in Birmingham as a paralegal.
Fantastic. Right, thank you very much guys for introducing yourselves. So if anybody's got any questions for these guys, then do pop them in the comments and we will be answering those for you shortly. But to start us off, I've got a few questions that I want to pose to you first. So Tom, if we start with you first this time, could you tell me why you're interested in a career in law?
So the reason for my direction in law is I actually studied at A level. So did 2 years studying at A level, really enjoyed that module. It was very heavy in criminal law, which is a very interesting area. Bits of contract law as well, and on that basis decided to do it at university in Manchester. Got onto the degree and then really enjoyed the undergraduate course and did some placements, definitely cemented that it was to be the career I wanted to go into.
Yeah, perfect. Shoosmiths?
I think for me it's a couple of reasons really. I think I really enjoy the challenging aspect of it, so the conceptual application of law, and also more specifically the commercial aspect too. So I really enjoy business. Previously I have actually been self-employed, so those two things joining together for me made the career of a commercial solicitor perfect.
Very much like Shoosmiths, my interest in law actually stems from an interest in business. I grew up in quite an entrepreneurial family where I had exposure to a broad range of businesses, from a property development business like I mentioned previously, all the way to a funeral directors. Now at quite a young age it became very clear that there were vast differences between each of those businesses, but one common thread throughout was the impact of law. Law was needed to regulate those businesses, but law was also required to help those businesses meet their goals. Because of that interest, I decided to study law at university. I undertook some work experience, which cemented my desire to follow a career in law and to not settle on one particular business to work for, but to work on a daily basis for a broad range of businesses to help them meet their goals.
Fantastic. I think it's really important that you understand why you want to go down the path to a career in law, and particularly as well, if you are applying to us, then why Shoosmiths? And it's a question that we ask a lot. We ask it on the application form, and we also ask it at interview on the assessment day as well. So be sure to know what your reasons are for going down that path. Thank you for sharing your pathway there, guys. So I wanted to ask, how did you come across Shoosmiths, and had you met us before or anything like that? So Matt, if I start with you.
Well, because I've been paralegaling for 3.5 years now, I've come across Shoosmiths in a professional capacity and always been impressed with the work that they've done, how well their solicitors act on some of the transactions that they deal with. But my first main exposure was actually through an Aspiring Solicitors event here in the Manchester office in November last year. So I was invited to take part in the event, and during the event I got to meet a broad range of people, from trainee solicitors all the way to partner. Took part in question and answer sessions, graduate recruitment talks to give a bit of insight into the recruitment process, which I would highly recommend if you can. and also took part in a small commercial awareness activity to kind of simulate the kind of tasks that you could expect on an assessment centre. It's always good to settle the nerves if you have an understanding of what's going to come. Shoosmiths, I know, have a number of insight days as well, so have a look at aspiring solicitors, see if you can apply for one of their open days, but I'd highly recommend applying for an insight day to get a good impression of the firm before you apply.
Yeah, fantastic, thank you. Shamus?
I think for me, the first time I was exposed to Shoosmiths was when I saw an advert at Manchester Piccadilly Station, huge massive billboard saying Shoosmiths. So I thought to myself, what on earth is that brand? What are they doing? Because it was really striking for me, and that really sets this firm apart from its competitors. So I looked into what Shoosmiths do, and then realised that it's a law firm. Why don't I apply, research it? So then I was fortunate enough, I applied for an Insight Day. I actually attended the Insight Day at Manchester in January, which I really, really enjoyed. The culture and people that I met were exceptional. I really enjoyed that. And then on the back of that, that's what spurred my application on the vacation scheme.
Okay, and Tom?
So my first hearing of Shoosmiths is a little bit different to Matt and Seamus's. So I actually worked for a builder 2 years ago, and we were working on someone's house, doing a big conservatory, and it turned out the owner of the house was a partner at Shoosmiths in the Birmingham office. Through this very random connection, I began speaking with him. He was very, very kind, really friendly, happy to speak about my career in law, and then through this sort of initial contact, I was like, wow, for this partner to go out his way and really speak to me, this is a firm I'd like to work for, compared to some of the other firms where you just don't get that level of friendliness. And then on that basis, applied for an Insight evening, attended that in Manchester 2 years ago. Really enjoyed it, ended up speaking to Vac, who's the head of the Manchester office, very friendly guy, really enjoyed the conversation with him, spoke to trainees, and all they had to speak about was just beneficial things about Shoosmiths, and then hence yeah.
Fantastic. So I didn't realise when I got you guys together that you'd all been to an Insight evening or an Insight day or met us previously, but that really goes to show how important it is to be doing that work to get to know a law firm before you even apply, and that will have, I think, really helped your application forms then, and that's why you're here today on the placement.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fantastic. Right, so I've got some more questions for you. So I'd like to know a bit about what you've been doing this week on your placement, obviously without breaking any confidentiality of the firm or giving any client details away, but do just tell us a little bit about the projects you've been doing. So Shamus, if I come to you first on this one.
So I'm currently working in the banking team for this week. I had no expectations as to the kind of work that I was going to be doing or what to really expect from my colleagues either. What I did know, because I was actually in communication with my buddy here, my host, I knew firstly that they were really, really friendly, and once I got started and came in on Monday, the work that I was being given was really challenging and really interesting, and it was for a diverse array of clients as well. So far I'm actually, this morning I've been given 4 tasks to do, which I'm working through, and I'm really enjoying those, whilst also doing my mini project as well, which we're going to be doing a presentation for on Friday.
Okay, fab. So Tom, if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit more about the project that you've been set that Shamus has mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. So on Monday we got an email from Sam with all the relevant documentation, and it's included the project which we have to carry out on Friday. So it's an apprentice style presentation in front of a panel which will be assessed, and the theme of it essentially focuses on coming up with a new social media direction which targets a niche Shoosmiths area or a specific demographic, and then we have to research UK businesses and then bring that research into the presentation itself about what we think would be a good direction for Shoosmiths to proceed in.
Yeah, great. So we do set a project on the week which comes from a business development angle. It's really important for us to set something that's not just legal based, because we obviously get people from law and non-law backgrounds, so we want something that everybody is able to show their skills on, but also it's nice to have something to do with marketing and business development, because as a lawyer that's such an important part of your world, bringing on new clients and maintaining those relationships. But I think as a prospective trainee solicitor as well, it's so important that you're raising your own brand and that you know how to sell yourself in the best way. So that's why we do the project. So Matt, if I can ask you, what do you hope to get out of your placement this week?
I think now when you apply to any law firm, by the time you've submitted your application form, you know most of the firm's publications and their website pretty well, but the one thing that you don't know is about the culture of the firm. So from this week, I'm really trying to fully understand what makes Shoosmiths, and so far I've realised that's the people. So for the rest of the week, I'm hoping to get to know more of the people within my department, understand their common goals, understand their business goals, because these are the people that hopefully one day will be training me to be a solicitor. And I know that I will only be a good solicitor based on the quality of the training that I receive. So for the rest of the week, I'm hoping to understand more about the culture, but more about the internal goals of the business as well.
Okay, fantastic. And I think probably last question from me before we move on to some questions from our viewers. But if you could each tell me, and you've only been here 3 days, it's only your 3rd day with the firm, but what's the best part of your placement, or what's been the best part of being part of Shoosmiths so far? So Tom, if you start us off.
My favourite thing of the week so far, I think, would actually have to be the research project which I was set. So I was given by my host a research project to carry out regarding the Reservoir Act. Took myself off to the library, which is where we are right now, for a nice quiet bit of researching. Really enjoyed that task, but the best thing about it was to talk it over with my host, current trainee, and to go over the next steps, what that would actually mean in terms of the client, because it was quite early on in the case, and I really enjoyed that process of engaging from her what it takes for a full case to go through.
Okay, fantastic. Shoosmiths?
I think for me, if it's okay, probably 2. That is the team that I work with, because they're a very, very small team. There's only about 5 people in the Manchester office banking team. They work as a national team as well. So that's one thing, that people are lovely. And the quality of work that they do, I must say, I wasn't expecting such high quality work. So the clients that we're actually doing work for are based all over the country, all over or different jurisdictions as well. So the quality of work they were doing with them, I'm doing something at the moment in relation to tax law. I'm trying to find some loopholes within this piece of work. So that's something that's really challenging, but also interesting too, which I'll be able to feed back to my team.
Okay.
So obviously the work and getting to know my team's been a fantastic part, but I've actually really enjoyed getting used to the Manchester office itself. The Manchester office is fantastic and fully encourages agile working. It was a bit confusing coming in on day 2 and realising that the person sat next to me wasn't the person who was sat there the day before. But it's been really great experiencing how agile working can really improve collaboration between people within a business. And this is definitely a model for the way that the majority of law firms are going to move towards, I believe. So it's been really good trying to figure out how that could benefit my training contract and develop me into even a better lawyer in the future.
Fantastic, thank you very much. So I just want to remind you that in terms of applying for a summer placement, the application will open in December, ready for next year, and you do need to be at the right stage for a training contract to also come on our summer placement, because it feeds into our recruitment for trainees. And I can go through that in a bit more detail in another video where we're talking a bit more about application forms. I also want to let you know that we actually have a deadline for training contract, which is at midnight on Saturday the 30th of June. So this weekend we've got the deadline for the training contract application, and that's for training contracts starting in September 2020. We do have a couple of vacancies to start in earlier years in our Leeds office and in Edinburgh, so do apply if you are available for the earlier years as well. You just need to head over to our website after this video and apply for training contract before Saturday. So we want to take some questions from you, the viewers, now. So if you've got any questions for me about the summer placement process, about the application forms or anything like that, or if you've got any questions for Matt, Shamus or Tom, then do send them over now. I'm just going to check and see if we have any questions that have already come in. So let's see. So, we've got Danny Owens, who is the recruit manager at Shoosmiths. She has commented saying she studied Italian. And now she works in a law firm. So thanks, Danny. We've got Andrea, who is studying law, and she has done some work experience in-house as well, so that's fantastic. Andrea, do tell us what experience you had and what type of work you were doing. Was it commercial, drafting, or was it something a bit different? Callum, he's just finished the accelerated law degree at the University of Law. Thank you, Callum, for commenting. And Imran, he's a law graduate and he is currently working in fraud litigation, so something a little bit different, which is really interesting. Let's see if we've got any questions here. A few of you just saying that you really appreciate the videos that we're doing, so thank you so much for commenting. So Fayaz and Asan have commented to say that they appreciate the videos. Thank you so much. We hope this is really useful, but it's only useful if you ask us some questions. So just pop some questions in the comments now and we will answer them for you. So we've got a question coming from Mandeep, and she says, how would you say your paralegal experiences helped your application? So who wants to take that question first?
I'll go for that. Law work experience is obviously one of the best ways to decide whether you want to be a lawyer and the type of lawyer that you want, and because of that, working in that environment, you've got some fantastic examples that you can use on your application form. Having said that, my advice to anybody applying is to take advantage of any opportunity that comes your way. Legal work experience is obviously fantastic, but even if you are working part-time in Tesco, you're developing team working skills that you can use as a competency question answer. If you're fundraising for charity, you're improving your skills of persuasion, you're improving your project management skills. So paralegaling is fantastic, but it's not the only opportunity out there. Do as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, I think that's very true. When I actually submitted my application for Shoosmiths, I had only been in a paralegal role for 1 month. So the majority of my experience up to that point was in hospitality and in building. So definitely, I think it's a valid point that you make in terms of there's so many transferable skills from other areas if you don't have a paralegal role.
And just to add to that, a quick point there is a lot of firms now, they're looking for candidates who demonstrate a commitment to law. So if they see candidates who are already paralegaling, whether it be in-house or at another firm, that shows to them and their graduate recruitment team that this is a person who can be resilient, would be resilient, and would actually flourish in a legal environment once they start there. So if you've already got that on your CV, that's double ticks for you when you submit your application as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Your points are all valid. So all work experience is so important to us. Paralegal experience is great and obviously shows your commitment to law, shows that you are interested in a career in law long term as well. But we do love other experiences because we love reading about different experiences on the application form. We want to see that you're a well-rounded person that's got interests also outside of law, and we want to know about your hobbies and really you as a person, and it's always such a cliched thing to say. But Matt mentioned one of the things he's enjoyed most is the people at Shoosmiths, and I think that does really come through. We really encourage people to be themselves. I said it. Be yourself, but as much as you can, like you're what's unique. So do get across what's personal to you. So Fayaz has asked, what's the culture like at Shoosmiths with regards to diversity and inclusion? So does anybody want to pick that up?
I think that's a really interesting question because, as you would already know, diversity is becoming a really hot topic for clients and law firms. Clients want to know that firms' values are aligned with their own. And I think diversity is a key subject which actually confirms that, thereby developing good relationships moving forward. So at Shoosmiths, I've seen quite a lot of people here who are from a diverse background, and that's just from my own understanding of the open office environment that we've got here. and that people actually respect each other and appreciate that as well. So that for me confirms for me that I'm in a really supportive environment, and it'll make sure that if I, fingers crossed, get a training contract here, that I'll be in a really good supportive structure as well.
Matt, you mentioned that you heard about us through Aspiring Solicitors. So are you a member of Aspiring Solicitors?
I am a member of Aspiring Solicitors. So Aspiring Solicitors is an organisation that is committed to increasing diversity within the legal sector, and their main message is that by increasing diversity in the legal sector, we're only going to make it better. I never considered myself to be suitable to be a member of Aspiring Solicitors. To be a member, you've got to come from a disadvantaged background, which could be if you went to state school, if you were the first in your family to go to university, if you're from a certain ethnic minority, you can apply to them. They have lots of different connections with law firms up and down the country, and they host open days. They provide you with access to law firms to try and improve those examples that you can give in your application forms, and they invite you to events where you can develop the skills that you need to impress.
Yeah. So Shoosmiths are partnered with Aspiring Solicitors, and we run a number of events and things with Aspiring Solicitors that you can get involved in if you're a member. So this year we will be having an event in Manchester. So Matt, you mentioned that you came on our one last year in November. So we'll have one in Manchester, one in Reading, and also in the new year we'll have another event in conjunction with Aspiring Solicitors in Birmingham. So you just need to go onto the Aspiring Solicitors website and have a look around. There's loads of events on there with lots of different law firms, and there's such fantastic support available. The other thing that we do with Aspiring Solicitors is a number of our trainees and solicitors are professional ambassadors for the firm. So they are listed within the Shoosmiths profile on Aspiring Solicitors website, and you can contact them through the website and basically ask them anything. That's what they're there for. They want to coach, mentor and support you in your application to Shoosmiths. So do go and have a look at that. And in terms of Facebook Live, we're actually getting together with Chris, who's the founder of Aspiring Solicitors, in October. We will be doing a Facebook Live session with him where you can learn a bit more about the partnership and about what you can get involved in. So do head over to the events page on our Facebook page, and you'll be able to see the dates listed and hit going on the event so you get a reminder. Okay, so let's have a look at some more questions coming in then. So Imran wants to know, how did your experience as a paralegal differ from the level of responsibility this week? Tom, do you want to pick that one up?
So my first paralegal role, there was very little responsibility, and my second one slightly more, but compared to this week, I'd definitely say, even though being here for 3 days, I've been given very high levels of responsibility from my host. She's given me various pieces of work. I went to court and served some proceedings, which isn't the hardest task in the world, but just to show that she trusts me to go and serve some proceedings in court after 3 days is obviously indicative of itself. So very, very good, absolutely.
Yeah, fab. What have you guys found?
For me, in my paralegal role currently, given the experience that I've had so far, I do actually already have quite a lot of responsibility. What I've found here at Shoosmiths is that as a trainee, the diversity of the tasks is far wider, and also the number of different solicitors that you will work for. So in my current role, I work within quite a small knit team, but here we're working with one of the largest departments in real estate, the real estate department, one of the largest departments in Shoosmiths, Manchester. You're working with a number of different partners, senior associates, people from all different levels, and the work obviously differs from different specialisms within real estate across that spectrum, as well as the different tasks that you'll be involved with.
I think for me, it's I've already got quite a lot of responsibility in my role, in my in-house legal role. I think for my 3 days here, it's just taking it on a completely different platform, and that's the commercial platform, and the level of responsibility that I was given from day one, I was not expecting at all. So I thought this was quite shocking in one respect, but I was quite relieved and glad because it gives me something to just get my teeth into and actually really get some work done, and interesting work too.
Fantastic. So I would like to know, you said so many positive things about Shoosmiths and your week here, which is fantastic, and thank you so much. I guess I might have to pay them later for that. No, honestly, I'm not paying them. But I would like to know, do you have any constructive feedback or things that you might change about the week? Is there anything that you would like to experience more or anything like that?
I think for me, the week's been fantastic so far, but given that we're only here for a week and we've got a number of tasks to complete as well as the work on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't give much time to venture out and speak and maybe experience different departments as well, so smaller tasks maybe. That's something that I would love to do, and that's something that I'm going to be working towards over the next 2 days, trying to branch out a bit from Readers Day.
Fantastic, thank you.
I actually wish it was 2 weeks. I really do. That's the only thing I can actually feedback on, to be honest. I've enjoyed it so far, and I just wish I was continuing with my current team for another week, or even go to another team as well, do some work with them and experience the kind of work that they do.
I can't think of anything. It's been so good.
A glowing report. Thank you so much. Okay, so finally, what I'd like to ask you is, for the viewers, if you could tell them your kind of top piece of advice, or have you been given an amazing piece of advice, not just here, you know, in your whole sort of career, what advice would you want to share with viewers who are starting a career in law? Yeah. So if, Tom, we start with you.
One thing I'd say, if you're early on in your university degree, just try and get as much experience early on as possible. I didn't really realise this until I was in towards the end of second year, and looking back, that's definitely one thing I would have done differently, is just get as involved with as many things at university, extracurricular, any sort of work placements, just get your own brand out there as early as you can. That's one of the main tips I'd give to someone looking to go into law, definitely.
Yeah. I
think for me, the piece of advice I would give is something that I received from aspiring solicitors. I spoke to somebody there, and the piece of advice was good enough isn't good enough. So really interrogate yourself, look at your application, look at your CV, and look at areas where you think you could develop yourself and actually become better at. And once you recognise those key areas, find those opportunities where you can develop yourself, either by work experience, pro bono work, volunteering, whether it be even English and proofreading. See, that's quite key when you're doing applications. So that little motto has actually really resonated with me, and I'm using that right now.
I think it's very easy to become extremely overwhelmed by the process of getting a training contract or a vacation placement. A piece of advice I was given was to set your own goals. So every application form for every firm is going to have a specific date. Set yourself goals before that date. So set yourself a date to have question 1 on the application form finished. Set another date to have question 2 finished. Set a date by which you hope to get some experience with a firm, whether that be an open day or some more formal work experience. By setting yourself goals and achieving those goals before the ultimate deadline, it's going to feel like you're achieving something. It's going to spur you on to the end. But also by setting those goals, it makes the entire process more achievable as well. It makes sure that you'll have time before you submit your application to get it reviewed by somebody. And it will, like I said, prevent the entire process from getting too overwhelming.
Thank you, amazing tips there. So I should share my top tip, and it's going to be a shameless plug really for our Facebook Live videos that we're doing, because we do have a whole series planned. The dates are on our website, but they're also on our events page, on our Facebook page. So do go and look about the topics that we're going to be covering and the guest speakers that we're going to be interviewing. Thank you so much, guys, for coming and being part of this Facebook Live video, because I really did throw you in the deep end with it, and 3 days into the firm, and I'm asking you to be filmed live and answer questions about us. So if you've enjoyed watching us today, then just hit the love heart button for us and send us some love. And yeah, round of applause really for these guys, from you and from me. But my tip is to engage with us on these videos, because we only have a limited number of summer placements available across the firm every year. We only have a limited number of spaces on our Insight evenings and our Aspiring Solicitors events, and we can't see everybody in person. We do try and get round to law fairs at universities and campuses, but we can't see you, and we want you to see a bit more and get to know us really, and learn whether Shoosmiths is the firm for you. So watching us on these videos hopefully is the next best thing. And of course you can ask us anything and we'll answer those questions for you. For any questions that I haven't managed to pick up today, we will jump online and we'll answer them afterwards in the comments. And of course, if you're watching this after the live broadcast, then you can still ask questions and we will still answer them for you. So just want to remind you that the deadline for our training contract is this Saturday, 30th of June. So do submit your application if you are interested. And if you've been watching us and you've got a good tip for applicants that we haven't covered, then pop that in the comments as well, and we'll share your top tips too. So once again, show us some love by hitting that love heart. Tune in to watch our other videos, and thank you so much from these guys and from me. I look forward to reading your application.